Well, welcome everybody to Watson's, and I want to thank Michael Watson for hosting us here today. He's just not opening for the time since we've been closed during lockdown, but he's opening for the very first time, so it's doubly exciting for him and the 60 staff that he's bringing on board. I'm joined by the Treasurer, Matt Kean, by the Deputy Premier, Paul Toolo, Small Business Minister, Damien, Tudehope, Head of Business New South Wales, Dan Hunter. Anyone else? No, that's it. So it's a team, and our team is very excited, just like every single person right across New South Wales. It has been a difficult 100 days, but the efforts that people have made right across the state to go out, to get vaccinated, has enabled this great day to occur. There are going to be challenges, we know that. I ask again everybody right across our state to treat everybody with kindness and respect, take personal responsibility. There's no doubt there'll be teething issues, but many young people are pulling beers today, probably better than Damien just did, serving tables at restaurants and cafes, who will be doing this for the first time and adjusting to a new system. So please be patient and look out for them as we move through this period of time. But as Matt will speak about, this is incredibly important for the economy. It's not just a health crisis, it's an economic crisis too. New South Wales is leading the nation out of this pandemic. There will be challenges. We need to keep people safe. As you know, there are rules in place and there are still restrictions in place. They're not there for the sake of it. They're there because we obviously want to make sure that we look after people's health care, particularly at a time as we will no doubt see case numbers increase. We will see hospitalisations increase, but we've invested significant amounts in our health system. We now need to learn to live alongside the virus. There will be challenges, but I believe that our state is poised and ready, and that is on our people. This is not the government who's been the ones that have been able to make this decision today. It has been the great work, the efforts, the sacrifice of everybody across the state. I say to everyone today, New South Wales, you've earned it. Enjoy it. It's a great day. It's a day we should all be pleased at arriving at. But as I said, there will be issues that come up. There'll be challenges that come our way. But if we look out for each other, if we respect each other, we will be able to make sure that New South Wales gets through this period of time and comes stronger out the other side. One of the issues that Michael just raised with me is, and it's come through today a fair bit, and I'm sure it's going to be an issue going forward. We've been in discussions with the federal government in terms of labour shortages, and this is an issue that's going to face our state and the nation. It was probably an issue that we had prior to the Delta outbreak that was coming through. So it's a challenge that we're going to face moving forward. We're working with the federal government at the moment in terms of trying to bring forward that date for the opening of our international border. We can't live here like a hermit kingdom on the other side of the world. We've got to rejoin the world. We want returning Australians to come back, and if New South Wales can play a role in helping other states bring their Australians home too, we want to be part of that. We'll work through that with the other states and territories. So these will be challenges going forward. This is a long way from over. It's a long journey ahead for the people of our state, but I think everybody today should give themselves a pat on the back and celebrate all the efforts and sacrifices they've made, because we're here today because of you. Now I'm going to pass to Toolo, who's going to make a few comments as Deputy Premier and regional hero, and then Matt and Damien will say a few words as well, and then Dan and Michael.
Thanks, Premier. And look, today's an exciting day. People are getting their first taste of freedom. And I think the message is very simple, that New South Wales is open. Our businesses are once again opening their doors, and we've got people that are going back to work. But I just want to say thank you to the people across New South Wales. Thank you for coming forward and getting vaccinated. You have actually helped us to get to this important milestone here today. Today, I know that there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of optimism out there in our communities, and this is the day that we've been all waiting for. Could I also say that the Treasurer was pretty tight. The Premier was actually pretty tight when he was the Treasurer. It's hard to get cash out of him. And he's told me today that he's going to shout everyone a beer if you're here after 11 o'clock this morning. But today, fantastic. That optimism is right across New South Wales. It's been felt out in the regions. And I'm going to call the beer today the Freedom Frothy.
Well, thanks, Toolo. Today's been a long time coming, and I want to thank everyone for the sacrifices they've made to get us to this point. But it's now time to get business back to business, get people back to work, and get our economy roaring. Today, we know that the restrictions have cost the economy about $1 billion a week. That's a huge amount of money. So what we need to do is make sure that as we come out of these restrictions, that number's expected to halve. So we need to get out there and encouraging people to go down to your local pub and have a beer, get a haircut, grab a coffee, support business across the state, because that means jobs, that means growing our economy, and that means coming out of this better than we came into it.
Thanks, Premier. Thanks, Treasurer and Deputy Premier. It's great to be here today on a day when we are celebrating small business. Small business has, in fact, partnered with the government in delivering a health response for this state, and we are leading the country in terms of that health response. And I just want to say thank you to every one of those small businesses who've been a partner with the government in reaching this stage today. And to the extent that we're having a beer here this morning and having fun, that's a demonstration of optimism. But I was out at a hairdresser this morning. She's booked all day, every hour a new customer. And the spirit of optimism that is out there is something which is really contagious. And people waking up today are waking up in circumstances where they are feeling happy about their lives. And we want that to continue through summer. And what we wanted to see is, in many respects, this is a Christmas for families, and we want families to get together and celebrate this and celebrate small businesses like no other year before. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier, Deputy Premier, Treasurer and Minister. My name's Dan Hunter. I'm the CEO of Business New South Wales. We're calling today Back to Business Day. It's a very exciting day for us. And what's exciting about it is it's more than just about bricks and mortars when we talk about business. We're talking about people and people's lives. It's time for us to heal, time for us to get back to some better financial well-being, and honestly, the mental health and well-being of people, business owners and staff. We're very excited today. I'd like to thank the government as well for the business packages. Half of our members across New South Wales have said that if it wasn't for the business support packages that the New South Wales government and the federal government put on, that they simply would have closed for good and they wouldn't be back today. So it's time to come out of hibernation, get out there and support your local businesses. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much, guys. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally open, and we're ecstatic to be able to host you guys here today. Yeah, it's been a tough road over the last few months. However, we've got here. We're very appreciative of the support from the government. The support packages have been absolutely amazing. Yeah, and today, for anyone who's around, the first 100 people in the doors will get a free schooner, just to welcome back Freedom Day.
Thank you. Premier,
Yep.
are you disappointed that Gladys Berejiklian is not here to celebrate with us?
Well, it's disappointing. I mean, Glad, as you know, has led us through this pandemic, and it's a great day for the state. I'm sure we're all disappointed that she's not here to celebrate this great moment with the people of New South Wales, because she was, I think, an outstanding premier, the most outstanding premier we've had. She, as all the media know, I mean, she was out every single day, daily press conferences, and it hasn't just been the last 100 days. We're talking 18 months here, a challenge for our state. It's been a very, very difficult time on government and on her as the leader, but I know she's here in spirit, and you never know. Glad might even go out and have a beer herself tonight, so celebrate.
Do you have a sense of trepidation when you open the gates today?
Yeah, this is not an easy time for anyone. It's been a very difficult time for our state, and as I said, this issue is not over. There's a long journey in front of our state. There will be challenges that come our way, but we have to open up, and we have to get people back into work. We have to have businesses open for people's mental health, so they can provide and support and put food on the table. That's what we had to do. The freedom that we have today is a blessing, and it's because the efforts that so many people have made. I really want to make that point. The vaccination rate, the first dose we hit, as you know, 90% on Saturday. We still need to get that double dose vaccination rate up and that first dose up. And the faster we do that, the more we can open up in a safe way. And the effort of the people of our state today has been great. There is more to do. For those who've made their second appointment to get a second dose vaccination, please keep it. For those who haven't yet been vaccinated, please go out and get vaccinated, because that keeps you safe, it keeps your family safe and your friends safe. So, Liz, to your question, yes, there are challenges and there will be difficulties that come our way, but we are best placed to deal with those challenges because of our investment in our health system, the investment we've made in our people, and ultimately the efforts that everybody's made around the state to get vaccinated.
Regarding some people are calling it Freedom Day. Others are concerned it's been called Freedom Day. How do you describe today?
I think it's a great day, and I see it as a day of freedom. It is a freedom day. It is. I mean, people are going out for the first time. Businesses are opening up, but that means it needs to be done in a measured and safe way. Let's not get caught in semantics about how we want to classify the day. What's most important is that for the first time in a long time, people are getting the opportunity to go back to work. Businesses that have been closed and businesses that have been crippled are excited today, having the opportunity to open once again. And what a fantastic thing that is. So people can call it whatever day they want to call it. I just think it's a great day for the people of our state based on the efforts and sacrifices that everyone's made.
Premier, regarding 8%, it looks like the way we're tracking will probably hit that benchmark next Monday potentially. That would then mean we'd wait another week for the rules to change. Would you consider maybe adjusting that week-long wait to afterwards or so?
Well, I won't make policy on the run. We'll do things in a considered way. We had a lot of interest and pressure from people about bringing the day forward from Monday back to last Friday. We didn't do that because, as Dan will know, the consultation with industry has been key in providing certainty and stability for businesses, and that commitment and understanding where the roadmap was at is important. We've always said it'll be the Monday after we hit those milestones, but we will always look at it. We'll make tweaks and changes as we go along. It's not a set and forget, but as much certainty and stability that we can provide in relation to the roadmap, we will. And we know that businesses, and one of the I made this point yesterday, and I really want to thank Business New South Wales and industry across the board, because the level of engagement that we've had fills me with a lot of confidence that we'll go through this period of time relatively smoothly, as challenging as it's going to be, because the communication over this entire lockdown period with the business community has been second to none. And I really want to thank them, because by their engagement with us, ironing out issues that have come up during this period of time, I think we're well set to open up safely.
Premier, you've said a couple of times, not just a health crisis, but also an economic crisis. Prior to the events of the past fortnight, you were working on an economic update to tell the state the effects of this lockdown. Is there any further timetable as to when we'll get that update on how much the economy is actually being hit?
Yeah, I think Matt Kean's the new treasurer. It's now his responsibility. So blame him. I'm out of that job. The economy is his problem. We will be providing it, or Matt will be providing an economic update this week. We have obviously, in the lead up to this period of time, worked very closely on the economic recovery plan. We will be releasing that over the coming weeks, and we'll start making announcements in relation to that. And those aspects will be focused on, as we move away from providing direct financial support to businesses, we will move into a range of programs that will help stimulate and drive the economy as we head into summer. It's going to be a very bright summer, but we can't rest on our laurels. Our economy at the June budget was stronger than it was at the outset of the pandemic, and I have full confidence we'll get there again. I think there's more challenges this time around by the nature of this lockdown, but business confidence is key, consumer confidence is key. That's what helped drive our economy through this last pandemic. So that's why everyone across the state, I know there's built-up demand in a responsible way, go out, and Paul Toolo raised this point really well, go out and support your local businesses. You know they've been doing it tough. You can get out there and lend a hand to those businesses, your neighbours who are doing it tough. Go out and spend, because your spending helps them recover and get people back into work. Sorry, Tom, I missed the first part. Yep. Yep. The challenge with the federal government. Oh, so I think, look, the first point I'd make in relation to the passport issue is that it was never going to be an impediment in relation to opening up. The Service New South Wales app is national leading when it comes to QR codes and check-ins, and what we want to do is connect that with the federal government data in relation to immunisation. So when you do come and check in at a cafe, a pub or a restaurant, hairdressers, that you're able to do so in one transaction. So you'll be able to use your Service New South Wales app. Now, my understanding from the Customer Service Minister is there's been some challenges in obtaining some of that data from the federal government, but he is commencing the trial in certain parts of regional New South Wales today. But to everybody across the state, if you use your Medicare app, it's got your immunisation certificate on there. I did it last night. It didn't take me about 30 seconds to do it. And if you don't want to use the app, you can also contact Services Australia and download your immunisation certificate. You can print that out and then you can take that along as well. So yeah, it will be a two-stage process rather than one stage, but let's not let perfection be the enemy of the good here. And that's why there might need to be some greater patience from patrons coming in and out. Please respect everybody as we do it, but Tom, to the question, if we can get that done as quickly as possible, I know that the Customer Service Ministers are working tirelessly to get it done, so that's a one-stop shop there through Service New South Wales.
Premier, we're getting a lot of reports already that there is vaccine passport fraud at venues, people showing photographs of something they downloaded from the internet, etc. But there's not much that you can do about this, is there? The police can do about it. How big a problem is it going to be? And what can businesses do to try and combat that?
Well, businesses should take a look and make sure that when they see that vaccine, if they can, to the best of their ability, it's not going to be perfect, I accept that, that the information that's provided is connected to the person who is displaying that information. But you know, there should not be fraudulent activity. And I ask everybody across the state to follow the laws that are in place. Yeah, and the fact is that over 70%, 7 in 10 people across New South Wales are fully vaccinated and will be able to download that vaccination certificate on the Medicare app. But I accept, Chris, there'll be challenges and issues along the way. I ask the business where you can, please check that data is correct. Obviously, we can't police everybody, but if everybody does the right thing, this is not about putting rules in for the sake of it. This is about putting rules in during this time so we keep people safe as we open up. I don't want to go backwards. The government doesn't want to go backwards. Businesses and workers around our state don't want to go backwards, and the only way we can do that is everybody looking after each other and abiding by the rules that are in place.
Premier, you mentioned, Premier, that case numbers will rise, hospitalisation numbers will rise. Are you confident, though, that given quite dire forecasts of about a month ago, that they won't be reached for hospitals and ICUs?
I think there's going to be challenges. Case numbers will increase, hospitalisation rates will increase because mobility is increasing as we open up. But we can't stay closed. We can't stay closed. We need to learn to live alongside the virus. I know everyone's been saying it, but today, New South Wales is the first state to be doing just that. We are leading the nation out of this pandemic. This will be a challenge. We have invested significant amounts in the health system. I remember saying to Brad Hazard, day one last year, whatever you need to get the health system up and running, to support our state during COVID, to keep our people safe, we will provide. And that's exactly what we did. We quadrupled the ICU capacity. The best thing that people can do to keep themselves safe during this pandemic is to get vaccinated. That's my clear message. That's the best way to keep yourself safe, your friends safe, your family safe. There will be challenges. There will be challenges as we move through this period. There will be case numbers increasing. There will be hospitalisation rates increasing. But we need to open up. We need to get back to the way life was before. And I'm very confident we have the structures in place to ensure we do that safely. Please.
You've been really strong about wanting Greater Sydney to open up together. But are there any particular suburbs or parts of Sydney or any regional areas that you're watching really closely because there's still a high number of cases?
Yes, obviously the Canterbury Bankstown area and some of those areas in Western Sydney are a focus, and we'll still continue to monitor that. and regular contact already this morning with the Health Minister. We'll be going through some of that health advice today and see how things are tracking. But I don't want to tale of two cities. I want our city to open up as one together, and the people of Western Sydney have made more sacrifices than most during this period of time, being in those affected LGAs. It was the beaches last year, it's Western Sydney this year, and what a great thing today that Sydney as one opens up together, and we'll continue to monitor the situation as we move through. But the best thing that we can do is continue to keep the social distancing in place. There's still face mask wearing inside, obviously not outside, but just follow those rules, because if we work together on this, we'll get through safely.
Just in terms of November 1, it's only 3 weeks away. How quick can we get that home quarantine? I mean, it's not going to be much of a trial if we've only got 3 weeks to trial it before the borders are flying open. So how is that going to work?
Well, we're working through that this week. I mean, the Jobs Minister, Stuart Ayres, has responsibility for that. We commenced the trial a week ago or so. Very small trial, 30-odd people involved in that trial. But that was mainly focused in terms of what are we actually trialling. We're trialling some of the technology to make sure when people are quarantining at home, there are systems in place to ensure that it's occurred in a safe and responsible way, and that people can abide by those rules. But the reality is there is really no point into the future of having people who are double vaccinated coming back into Australia and sitting in a hotel for 2 weeks when they can sit at home for a shorter period of time. It doesn't make any sense to me. So the faster we can move through that, I've spoken to the Prime Minister about it. I know Stuart Ayres is speaking to the federal government about it, and we will have a paper that he intends on bringing to our subcommittee of Cabinet this week. I'll review it, and if we can bring that date forward, we will. Plus, I think New South Wales has an important role to play here, because because our vaccination rate is higher and because we're leading the nation coming out of this. If we can help other states in terms of their returning Australians as well, I'm very happy to do that, because if we can get as many Australians home by Christmas who want to get home by Christmas, what a great thing that would be.
Can I just ask on the voluntary assisted dying bill? You've said a few times that your preference would be for a conscience vote. Can I confirm, is that the position of the Liberal Party, or is that position yet to be determined? Because people are suggesting that the party's position has already been set because it's your personal preference.
Well, no, I'm just a member of the government as its leader. That's ultimately a matter for the Cabinet. But I've made it pretty clear. My view is that that matter should be determined by way of a conscience vote, and that's been a long-standing tradition in our party. And I've always supported that position. When these issues come to the Parliament, which are rare and occur from time to time, they should be conscience votes. We shouldn't be concerned as well of having these debates. I've always, from the time close to 10, how long have I been? 10 years in Parliament, conscience votes generally bring out the best in parliamentarians, and the respect that people take to those debates, of which there are strong views on either side, that people show the respect to each other. I think.
Can I just confirm that for me, the Cabinet hasn't finalised its position yet?
No, we haven't. No, we haven't. But obviously, we wouldn't finalise a position until such time as a bill has been presented to the Parliament. We haven't had a bill presented to the Parliament. There's obviously been a lot of reporting about that. Yeah. But we don't run cabinet agendas off media reporting. We run cabinet agendas off the parliamentary agenda. And once that bill is introduced, which I understand it will be introduced this week, cabinet will consider that matter. And obviously, I've made my position pretty clear, but we'll see how that discussion goes in cabinet. Tonight might be hard, but I'll be doing a makeup session this week. We'll be going out Tuesday or Wednesday.
Daniel, so James, just about the labour shortage, how do you think we can address labour shortage?
Well, we need to get the borders open and skilled migration up. When we went into this lockdown, there was already a skilled migration shortage and a general labour shortage. So we need to get the borders open up. And then we need to market to those overseas countries to get some of those skilled migrants in. Because if we lose this opportunity, those skilled migrants will go to other countries. We won't get those engineers, those accountants. They'll commit to other projects. And we need those skilled migrants just to deliver on some of our infrastructure programs, quite honestly.
Are you comfortable with November 1?
Oh, very comfortable. I think it's going to be a slow start because we're going to have to feel out this home quarantine system. But I think that once we can get through that, we can get borders open, we can get a better quarantine system in place. So at the moment we are capped by the number of beds in the formal quarantine system. We need to get away from that formal beds quarantine system and to something that's more suitable to bring people in and out of this country on a more fluid basis.
And why are we struggling to find bar staff, junior staff, cafe staff? That's been a real issue for small businesses that are prepared to do that.
Yep. In particular in regional New South Wales, it's been very difficult to find staff. That's coupled with the housing shortage in regional New South Wales. So some of those lower paid jobs, if you can't get housing, you're not going to go to the area and get the job.
Why in Metro Sydney we've got abundant staff and employment potential here? Why is there a problem finding bar staff here or cafe staff?
I think again it comes down to just the general labour shortage. It's skilled migrants and general labour. We don't have the backpackers coming through. We don't have those people doing those overseas experience. I think in Australia we rely on immigration and migration for short-term and long-term labour. So the key really to get this bounce back and to make the most of this opportunity, these economic opportunities that are around at the moment, is to get the borders open. And I think that's going to happen quickly. I think we'll have this soft start on November 1. We'll start to bring people in. I think by next year we'll see a very different sort of immigration policy, I hope, and that we will start to see a lot more people coming in filling those jobs.
Did you have a position on that?
Well, we need to bounce back better. That's the key message here, and the decisions we take in the coming weeks are going to determine whether we do so more productively, more profitably and more sustainably. So we're focused on that agenda.
Where are the kids that staff these sort of operations?
Sorry, can you
Where are the kids that staff these sort of operations? Where are the teenage employees? Why are bars struggling to find staff to man their bars and cafes struggling to find staff to man their cafes?
Well, as you've just heard from the New South Wales Business Chamber, we need more labour force available, and we need to be putting in place the policies that will drive that change. We need to get our economy roaring. We need to bounce back better. That's exactly what we'll be focused on in the coming weeks.
Yeah, sorry, what? The staff, yes. Look, obviously those reports are concerning that were in your newspaper overnight. There's a review being undertaken by ILGA in relation to STAR's obligations, whether it's fulfilling its statutory obligations. My understanding is that's due to be presented and finalised by March next year. So obviously we'll consider that. But if there are any breaches, we'll obviously take the appropriate action. So that review is being undertaken right now. The government will consider it when we receive that report in March next year. But if anything comes to light, and in the meantime, where we've provided advice that appropriate action needs to be taken, I can assure you it will.
You've had a haircut today. Chris Kean is also having one right now. Do you think he should have kept the mullet?
Absolutely, you should have. I thought he was looking really good. I don't know what his problem was. I would have loved to have seen him tomorrow in the parliament with that mullet. But anyway, good on him. Good on him. And we'll see him in battle tomorrow.
Premier, just on casinos again. Do you think you indicated much earlier in the year that Crown was most likely to be given their licence around October, which we now are at? Obviously, the pandemic can change the timeline. Do you want to see Crown offering gaming facilities by Christmas?
Oh, look, I haven't turned my mind to that issue, and it's not really a focus of mine at the moment. I'm more focused on getting business.
That's a lot of money for the economy.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but there have been challenges in relation to Crown in the past, so I'm more focused on making sure it's opening in that space is done in the appropriate way. That's the main focus I have there, and I'll work through and take on the current advice and the relevant minister's advice in respect of that. Aaron. Sorry.
I just wanted to ask Mr. Watson a question. You were first.
Yeah. Yes, so obviously when we have our cabinet meetings, we receive advice from health in respect of modelling that that demonstrates that obviously as mobility will increase, case numbers will increase and hospitalisations. It's very pleasing to see today that the case numbers, hospitalisation and ICU presentations have been lower than what we expected. So that's incredibly positive and should give hope and confidence that as we open up in a measured way, we are in a very good position to be keeping people safe. But I have to keep making the point, there are still restrictions in place. It's not a free-for-all. It is opening up in a measured way, and if everyone can look after each other and respect each other, we can get people back into work, we can get businesses open, whilst at the same time keeping people safe. Aaron, you got one?
I just want to ask you how hard it was to get staff today. If you could just explain a bit about how it took you to find people. Is it hard for people?
It is really hard, yeah. I think it was one of our, apart from the lockdown itself, it's one of the biggest hurdles that we had to overcome.
Really?
We really rely on overseas travellers, backpackers and the like, and they're just not here, or they've taken roles elsewhere. But yeah, we've really struggled to find staff. We're lucky enough that we've got enough people here today to open the doors, but it's been tough.
Why is that? Like, surely there's a lot of people in Sydney who haven't been doing much.
It seems like the case, but we've had job adverts out via social media, the likes of your large recruitment agencies, and they're just not around to get. I think the supply outweighs the demand.
I think people sort of sitting home taking
Possibly.
money from the government.
Possibly.
So they don't want to work.
How's the interest? Are the phones running hot with bookings? And
they are actually. They are. We're booked out. We're booked out for this evening, so we can't take another booking. Unfortunately, we had more bookings on the deck, but the weather has not played in our hands today. But yeah, the influx of reservations and bookings has been phenomenal. It's been great.
Is the first 100 beers count there high?
We're down to 95. Yeah.
Spoken extensively about international borders. Have you done any work and spoken to the Victorians about the interstate border? I mean, we're virtually
I spoke to Dan Andrews on the weekend about that issue, and we want to work very closely together on it. They're obviously a few weeks behind us. Their case numbers are still higher. Our roadmaps are similar, whilst theirs are slightly more conservative than ours. But I don't think they'll be too far behind, and I want to have that Victorian and New South Wales border open as quickly as possible. So does the Victorian Premier. But their main focus at the moment, and clearly it needs to be, that they're dealing with what we were dealing with just a few weeks ago. So I wish them well. I know it's an incredibly challenging time, and hopefully to everyone in Victoria today, that New South Wales gives them some hope that this is what lies ahead. And we've had our lockdowns in our state, but the people of Victoria have been in lockdown a hell of a lot longer over the last 18 months. But to them today, I think this should not be seen as something that's negative, that they should see this as a beacon of hope of where they will be shortly. And then once we get to that point, then I think what you'll see is that Victorian and New South Wales border open. Our discussions have started, but ultimately right now we just want to make sure both states get through this period. The talk. No, we just had I want to go into private conversations, but we had a discussion around where we were sitting and our commitment to opening the border, and that's something we'd want to do together and work through it. But you take it from Dan's perspective at the moment, he's got higher case numbers. They're still in a lockdown period, and he's got to deal with what's in front and centre at the moment for Victoria, and here in New South Wales, I'm focused on making sure we open up safely. We're going to have some issues, as I've said, in terms of making sure that this is done in a seamless way as possible, but we're focused on it. It was worthy enough of a discussion. But the question that Chris raised, I think as well, in Aaron on labour shortages. This is not a new issue. It's an issue that was around last year, pre-Delta. But that's why we need to get the international borders open. And that's not just going to be issues of labour shortages in New South Wales. This is going to be a national problem. I know the federal government, I had discussions with them and the federal treasurer prior to being in this role about how we can expedite that and bring it forward. And the first thing we can do is get our borders open. So, Minister Ayres is working on this at the moment. we'll bring it forward. If we can get returning Australians home, we can do this in a way that keeps people safe. But the next step after returning Australians is bringing in labour, helping pubs out, publicans like Mike get people into work, and in addition to that, then we want to bring tourism back, because we're Australia's only global city. We're the best city in the best state in the best country in the world, and we rely on tourism. Second largest service export. We need tourism back, and no one's going to come into Sydney, as great as it is, or New South Wales, in circumstance we've got to sit in a hotel for 2 weeks and not leave. So we need to move forward on that. We're focused on it, and we're also focused on international students. We're having 500 come in by the end of the year, and if we can bring that forward and we can expand that program as well, we will.
Mr. Andrews made the get on the beers comment famous last year. The get on the beers comment. Have you got a bit of a comeback to that, given you've now been behind the bar?
Well, I had a keg blow off my face yesterday, thanks to Craig. So that was a bit more. That was a bit better. But look, no, I just want everyone to go out and have fun and enjoy the day, because you've earned it. And have a beer, go out and have a meal, enjoy yourselves, go to the movies. I mean, take cinemas for example. I mean, people forget about cinemas. They've been closed for most of last year. They're open again today. What a great thing! So take some time out, enjoy yourself. It's been a rough road for our state. So enjoy yourself, but do it safely. Look after people, and if we do that, we'll get through it. Thanks.